Do you have a favorite sports team that you like to watch?
Texas Rangers for baseball, and I'm a Dallas Cowboys.
Meet Dylan James, just a typical kid who loves sports, and more importantly, playing sports. For 4 seasons of baseball, Dylan played without incident, and one April day seemed to be the same. Running from third base, Dylan was headed for home, and then everything changed.
I was running and then I slid on my right hip, but my right foot was in an awkward position, touching my other leg like straight.
After he slid home, the coach had noticed the way that he was pitching, his body was moving kind of funny. And so he walked up there and he said, "Dylan, is everything okay?" And Dylan was like, "Oh no, I'm fine." He was like, "Are you hurt?" And he goes, "No, I'm okay." And he said, "Well, why don't we just let you take a break?" He pulled him out from being the pitcher.
Then the next day, it started hurting, and then I made myself stand up. I tried to make myself walk, couldn't, fell down, so I called for my brother.
He was in so much pain, he was almost in tears, he couldn't walk, and take him to the doctor, and she thinks that maybe he had sprained or pulled a groin vessel.
But the pain didn't go away, and the family wasn't convinced that it was just a groin pull. After several visits to different specialists, one doctor from Hendrick finally solved the problem.
So Dr. Van comes in, he said, "I'm just going to take him straight down to surgery." He takes him down to surgery, he calls me and he said, "Brenda, there's an infection in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do surgery right now." He said if the longer the infection sits in the hip, the more detrimental it can be to his cartilage. And if it's there too long, then it would be hard for him to walk. My eyes filled with tears and I was just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And, this happened almost a week ago and it was just very scary. It was very scary.
The surgery was a success, but that was only the beginning. Dylan began rehabbing immediately.
They wanted him to start walking the day after surgery. And he had about a 2-inch incision on his hip. And so the next day, the people from physical therapy came down, they walked him down, walked him back, and he did good on his crutches. The doctor came in and said that they wanted to put a PICC line in. Basically, it's a long-term IV. The infection was very strong, so they needed really, really strong antibiotics.
Dylan stayed in the hospital for a week, and by the time he left, he was off the crutches. He continued to visit the hospital daily for the next 3 weeks to receive antibiotics. And at the end of the 3 weeks, his PICC line was removed, and life went back to normal.
After he got the PICC line out, the doctor said let him rest the rest of the day. He can start baseball tomorrow. The next day, he was back playing baseball.
Dylan's recovery was quick because of the timely care he received at Hendrick Children's Hospital. He and his family are forever grateful to the doctors and nurses at Hendrick.
Their support and they make me feel good.
If anything happened to any of my other kids, or even if something happens to Dylan again, I wouldn't take them anywhere else. I wouldn't want them to be anywhere else. The nurses here are amazing. The doctors were great. There wasn't one thing that we had, and we had no complications while we were here. And I think it's just amazing to have a children's hospital like this so close to home in Abilene.